In early 2026, something strange happened. There were no announcements,
No headlines.
no official statements, but fans felt it. Dylan Wong stopped posting behind-the-scenes clips. Bai Lu delayed every interview. The industry called it normal scheduling conflicts. But insiders whispered something else. They said, something happened after their last joint event. And from that moment on, the energy around them changed. Don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, trending moments, and viral breakdowns. The final promotion night was supposed to be simple. One stage, two actors, thousands of fans, cameras flashing like stars. They stood side by side,
Smiling.
polite.
Perfect.
But those who watched closely noticed something. Their eyes never met. When the host asked about future collaborations, Dylan paused. Bai Lu looked down. For half a second, the room went quiet. And that was when the rumors began. 3 days later, a sealed envelope was delivered to a private studio. No return address. No sender name. Inside, a handwritten note. Some stories are not meant for the screen. Some feelings are not meant for the world. If we continue pretending, we will destroy what little truth we still have. No one knows who wrote it. But after that, both of them refused joint schedules. Dylan flew overseas for fashion events. Bai Lu disappeared into long filming hours. They were busy, but not free. At night, they replayed old scenes. The laughter, the late-night script readings, the quiet moments when no one was watching. What fans never knew. They had promised each other something. Not love, not romance, just honesty. In the middle of the year, a mysterious script circulated. No production company name, no cast list, only a title. When the cameras stopped, industry insiders said it was inspired by real emotions between co-stars who could never choose each other publicly. When asked if they were involved, both gave the same answer. We cannot talk about it. The silence spoke louder than any confession. During a rainstorm in Shanghai, 2 cars arrived at the same cafe. Different entrances, different times. They sat across from each other.
No cameras.
No staff. Just 2 people who once shared a world. Dylan spoke first. Do you ever wish we were just ordinary? Bai Lu smiled. Every day. They knew they couldn't continue this shadow. So they made a decision. No secret meetings. No hidden messages. No unspoken hopes. They would move forward. Separately. But the story would remain in their hearts. Before leaving, Bai Lu sent one message. Thank you for being part of my story. Dylan replied. Thank you for teaching me how to feel. That was the end. Or so the world thought. Fans will always wonder. Was there more? Was there something real? Or was it only imagination? Maybe the truth is simple. Not every love is meant to be lived. Some are only meant to be remembered. And when the cameras stop, some stories finally breathe. 3 months passed. The stage lights turned on again. Different drama. Different cast.
Different city.
But the crowd still whispered the same 2 names. Backstage, Bai Lu stared at the mirror. Her makeup was perfect. Her smile practiced. But something inside her felt unfinished. She remembered a time when one person could read her silence. Now, the silence was hers alone. Dylan tried to forget. He filled his schedule. Fashion shows, music projects, public appearances. But every night, the same dream returned. A quiet studio, 2 chairs, 1 unfinished script. He would reach for the page and wake up before reading the ending. One evening, an assistant handed Bai Lu a file.
No sender. No explanation.
Inside, the original script of When the Cameras Stop. On the last page, written in blue ink. Some stories don't need endings. They live in the spaces between words. Her hands trembled. She knew whose handwriting it was. Dylan received an email. Subject: Private table read, no media. No production company listed. No cast announced. Just one line. If you still believe in the story, come. He stared at the screen. For the first time in months, he felt something again. The rehearsal room was small. Only 10 chairs. Soft lighting, dust in the air, a piano in the corner. Then,
She walked in.
no dramatic music, no slow motion, just reality. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world paused. They read their lines, not as characters, but as themselves. Every sentence felt too close. Every pause felt too honest. When the reading ended, no one spoke. They both knew this story was never just a script. That night, they walked separately into the city. They didn't promise anything. They didn't confess. They simply accepted. Some connections are meant to transform us, not stay with us. Weeks later, the project was canceled.
No headlines.
No drama. But something changed. They smiled again. They breathed again. They lived again. Not together, but whole. Even when people leave, their impact stays. Some love stories don't end. They simply fade into us and become who we are. In the entertainment world, nothing is free. Not fame, not love, not silence. Behind closed doors, contracts were rewritten. No joint appearances, no public mentions, no shared projects. They called it strategy. But Dylan and Lu knew it was control. Dylan sat across from 3 executives. Cold voices, perfect suits, sharp smiles. They slid a folder toward him. Inside, a clause. Any personal connection that threatens public branding must be removed.
He signed.
Not because he agreed, because he had no choice. That night, Lu cried alone in her trailer. Not for him, but for herself. For the version of her that still believed art was freedom. She whispered, "I wanted to be real." The walls answered with silence. At events, they smiled.
Wave. Bow. Pause.
But never together. Fans felt the distance. But no one knew the reason. The truth stayed hidden behind contracts and fear. Lu typed a message. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted again. Finally, "I hope you're happy." She never pressed send. Some words are too heavy to release. Dylan stood on stage at a charity concert. The lights blurred. His heart felt empty. He spoke. Some stories are buried before they're told. The crowd applauded, but no one understood. They met one last time.
No tears. No anger.
Only acceptance. They would stop running. They would stop hiding. They would choose themselves. They lost each other.
But they saved themselves.
And sometimes, that is the bravest ending. The first leak appeared on a quiet morning. No names.
No faces.
Just a blurred photo. 2 silhouettes under a streetlight. The internet exploded. Fans argued. Media guessed. Accounts vanished. But before the truth could rise, the image disappeared. The world moved on. Only they remembered. Lu walked alone through the studio corridor. The walls were covered with posters. Smiling faces. Perfect moments. Frozen happiness. She touched one gently. Not because of him, but because of who she used to be. Dylan received a package. Inside, a notebook. Old dialogue. Unfinished scenes. On the last page, some people are chapters. Not endings, but beginnings. He closed the book slowly, and for the first time, he smiled. They met once more, not as secrets, not as shadows, but as 2 people who survived. They didn't speak of the past. They spoke of the future. And then, they said goodbye. For real. Lu accepted a role she never would have before. Dylan started producing stories. They grew. They healed. They lived. Not every love is meant to be shown. Some are meant to shape us. And when the cameras stop, the heart finally speaks. Don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, trending moments, and viral breakdowns. It started like all storms do.
Quiet.
Invisible. Harmless. At exactly 6:17 a.m., a single blurred image appeared on a small forum. No names.
No captions.
Just 2 shadows under a streetlight. They stood close. Too close to be strangers. Too far to be lovers. Within minutes, the image spread. From private chats to fan groups. From whispers to headlines. Is this them? Could it be real? Have we been lied to? Speculation exploded like wildfire. Entertainment blogs scrambled. Hashtags trended in under an hour. Every movement they had made over the past year was re-examined, every glance replayed, every silence analyzed like a coded message. But before the truth could breathe, the photo vanished. The post was deleted, the account deactivated, the trail erased. As if the universe itself had chosen to protect them. The world moved on. But they did not. Bai Lu stood alone in the empty studio hallway. The walls were lined with posters of her past roles. Smiles frozen in glossy frames. Perfect lighting. Perfect skin. Perfect moments that no longer felt like her own. She traced her fingers across one poster. Not because it reminded her of him, but because it reminded her of who she had been before she learned how to hide. Before she learned that silence could be a shield and a prison. Her phone buzzed. Another rumor. Another article. Another theory. She turned it face down. This time, she chose herself. Dylan found the package on his doorstep. No return address.
No explanation.
Inside was a notebook.
Old. Worn.
Edges curled from being opened too many times. His handwriting filled the pages. Early drafts. Half-written dialogues. Scenes that were never filmed. On the last page, in a different ink. Some people are chapters. Not endings, but beginnings. He closed the book slowly. The weight in his chest softened. For the first time in months, he smiled. They met again.
No secrecy. No disguises.
Just two people sitting across from each other in a quiet cafe, rain tapping against the glass. They didn't talk about what happened. They talked about who they had become. Bai Lu spoke of fear. Dylan spoke of regret. They laughed. They sighed. Then they stood. And they said goodbye. For real. Bai Lu accepted a role she once would have turned down. Not glamorous. Not safe. But real. A character who fails.
Who breaks.
Who learns. Dylan began producing. Stories about people who love without being seen. Who choose courage over comfort. They grew. They healed. They lived. Years later, under a soft city glow, Bai Lu stood on a balcony overlooking the skyline. She closed her eyes and forgave. Not him, not the world, herself, for holding on too long, for letting go too late. The past loosened its grip, and she breathed again. Not every love is meant to be shown.
Some are meant to shape us.
And when the cameras stop, the heart finally speaks.